Imagine making seven figures while you sleep, selling tiny digital assets to a global audience with zero followers and zero effort. Sounds like the usual guru pitch, doesn't it? All right, let's take a look at the actual math. We're deconstructing the microeducation arbitrage model, a system that exploits geographic CPM disparities to acquire customers at net zero cost. All right, so the core thesis is simple. The 2010s era of a $2,000 masterclass is dead. It's being replaced by a paid lead magnet, which is a $27 instrument designed for self-liquidation. It is a scalable, low cost of entry model. All right. In this system, the course isn't the profit center. It's the filter. If it costs you $27 in ads to sell a $27 course, your customer acquisition cost is zero. You've bought a buyer's data for free. All right, but what's the catch here? To get those $27 acquisitions, you have to leave the comfort of tier one markets like the US and the UK. Welcome to the worldwide ad strategy. In the US, the CPMs, cost per thousand views, can sometimes hit $50. In developing nations, that same attention costs 50 cents. That's 100 times the leverage on your ad spend. You can hit so many more people for so much less money. However, so targeting worldwide without a bid cap is a suicide mission for your bank account. Without constraints, the algorithm will dump your budget into click farms and bots. You'll be broke almost immediately. So by setting a bid cap, you force the algorithm to hunt for the wealthy elite in low-cost regions. Users who have the purchasing power but aren't being targeted by the big guys like Nike or Coca-Cola. All right, now let's have a look at the product. A tiny course is strictly 20 to 30 minutes. Why? Because consumption correlates with trust. A finished course is a psychological bridge to a higher ticket upsell. It doesn't exist for its own right. It exists to sell you more things. All right, the production of these micro courses are intentionally low fidelity. They're screen shares, Google Docs, not a fancy studio. High production values trigger imposter syndrome in the creator and sales resistance in the viewer. They want to feel like they're getting something raw and unfiltered. So this brings us to the zero call close. The traditional 45-minute sales Zoom is a bottleneck. It doesn't scale. This model replaces it with asynchronous DM selling, direct messages. So let's ask yourself, is it easier to get a stranger on a calendar or to reply to a message from someone who just watched your training? This is a parasocial trust system, and it does the heavy lifting. All right, so the script is a 4-phase diagnosis. Open with a fixed question, identify the gap, and pivot to the high-ticket offer as the done-for-you shortcut. Now, the structural audit. This isn't a set-it-and-forget-it system. Selling cheap products at high volume creates a massive customer support debt. 1,000 sales means 1,000 potential support tickets. You got to have the infrastructure for that. All right, and then there's the meta risks. Sudden geographic spikes and make money claims are magnets for the ban hammer. Your entire revenue stream is a guest on Mark Zuckerberg's property. They change the algorithm, they change the system, you could lose out. Now, user sentiment analysis of the model's pioneer, Sergio Estevez, reveals a dichotomy. The logic is sound, but the execution, specifically customer responsiveness, has led to scam allegations on Reddit. You need to be on the ball with this stuff. This creates a market opportunity. If you can replicate the math but solve the support gap, you aren't just an arbitrageur, you're a brand builder. There's opportunity to realize and accelerate this process. All right, phase 1, ideation. You need a migraine problem, not a vitamin. Not how to lose weight, but how to lose 5 pounds for a wedding in 72 hours. Being specific is the currency. You want to solve a very specific problem in a specific niche. All right, phase 2, the tech stack. GoHighLevel is the recommended engine because it unifies the funnel, the course hosting, and the automated messenger triggers required for the backend. It's a pretty common technology stack. All right, let's look at the hypothetical projection. 1,000 clicks at 20 cents each. A 3% conversion on the $27 course. That's $810 in revenue on a $200 spend. But the real profit is in the ascension. If 10% of those buyers engage in a chat and 1% buys a $5,000 coaching package, your return on your ad spend jumps to 11 times or higher. Now, this blue ocean won't stay blue forever. As developing nations digitize, the CPM gap will narrow. AI translation will also bring more competition into these markets. It will be a rapidly closing window. To succeed, you must be a sovereign evaluator. Don't buy the hype. Audit the mechanics. The tiny course is a tool and not a miracle. Leverage the geographic disparities in pricing. Sell your tiny course and then upsell. Now, the question isn't whether the model works. The math says it does. The question is whether you can manage the friction points better than the people currently running it. Or you could just keep scrolling and look for another 7-figure secret. Your choice.